This is my setup for sinew backing, and the lighting down here in the basement isn't the greatest, but that is the bow, a little gullwing bow. I still have it set in that bending form for the setback handle, although I just steamed the deflex into the limb so it is gullwing shaped, as you can see. This base is adjustable. That little block there can slide either way depending on the length of the bow. And in this, the light just went all wacky, but that is a big pile of scraps from more than a few bows that I sinew backed. I'm not going to trash those. That's the cat. I'm not going to trash those scraps because I will simmer them in really as low heat as possible so it doesn't break down the protein chains and make my own glue. After a while, they'll disappear and there will be some little curlies in there that I'll weed out, but I can either use it fresh after I reduce the amount of water in there to the point where if I put my fingers in there, they'll stick together when they cool. That's the consistency for the sinew glue I use. Hello, cat. And then simply, it's just a cheesy old hot plate like thing in that little pot. I'll fill it to as high as the glue is in my big coffee mug. You want to have that water just encapsulating it, and you stick your hands in it, of course. And if it's like, I can't keep my fingers in there, it's too hot. You want to have it hot enough to liquefy the glue, but not so hot that when you put your bundles of sinew in there, they curl up. Now, I've been going back and forth discussing sinewing with a fine fellow, a young man, primitive teen, and he was talking about tight bond. Well, aside from the philosophy, I'm not a tight bond sinew backer. When you use this with the heat, the sinew bundles stretch out. Probably more than if you were to use some cold glue for it, and that's a benefit. Now you can certainly put a thin layer of sinew on the back there and protect it, but if you want to get an actual working layer of sinew, it has to be about 25% of the thickness of that bow limb. And that way you actually produce a composite bow instead of just a backed bow. And so, friends, by heating it and using hide glue or sinew glue or fish bladder glue, the sinew bundles will stretch, and when they dry, they'll contract. And so you'll have built-in tension in there that you're not going to achieve with tight bond. I'm debating whether or not to mention Knox gelatin. I'm just going to say that I like the organic nature of making my own glue with the sinew scraps. You develop, it's like brain tanning. The brain of an animal is enough to brain tan that hide. And typically, the sinew scraps that you produce, maybe not in your first bow, but when they start piling up, there's enough sinew scraps to produce glue to back a bow. And so I prefer the hide glue or the sinew scrap glue. What else was I going to say about that whole thing? Knox gelatin, not a fan. I'm simply going to defer to the Boyer's Bibles, where I believe it was Tim Baker, the wizard of bows, did testing with glues. And fish bladder glue, which the Asiatic or the Eurasian horn bows makers use, is the strongest. And then it goes down. And Knox gelatin actually is not as strong as the glue I make from this stuff, or just a plain old rabbit skin hide glue. And that's about it. Here's gullwing bow. Just got to get more tendons. Bruise my little fingers. There's my hot plate, my little pan that have made many bows. There's Bowcat. Say hi, Bowcat. Hey. Yeah. Okay. Well, Bowcat says thank you for watching, and she's getting ready to help me on another adventure. Thank you.